ever since this happened, me or my wife, my kids, we haven't been able to eat, sleep, think correctly. I don't even know what time it is. I barely know what day it is. And I'm just really messed up, and I'm really hurt because, my son's gone, and, he was the joy of my life. And I just, and I don't want to be one to question God, but it just has me questioning everything about life. With, me losing my best friend, it kind of has me thinking that I'm going crazy. Like I'm looking in his room, I'm looking around the corner, I'm hearing him. Am I tripping, or is he there? Because people keep telling me he's there with me, he's in my heart and all that, but I don't see him, I don't feel him. And it's just, it's like a nightmare. And I don't. Some days I wake up, I don't know what to do. I usually try to be productive, but I can't even go outside because people know me all over the world, the whole world feeling sorry for me, and it's just crazy. It's something that I gotta live with for the rest of my life. And
10 days after gunfire tore through a 2-year-old's birthday party in Stockton, California, the manhunt continues. But today, authorities revealed chilling new details about just how violent this attack really was. This is Crime Bits, and if you've been following the Stockton birthday party massacre that killed 4 people, including 3 children, you need to hear what investigators just announced. In a press conference earlier today, December 9th, San Joaquin County Sheriff Patrick Withrow dropped information that has shocked the community and raised more questions than answers. The evidence paints a picture of an attack far more coordinated and brutal than anyone initially realized. Here's what Sheriff Withrow revealed at today's briefing.
Starting off, we now have determined, with the help of ATF and the Department of Justice, that there were over 50 shell casings that were found on scene at the scene of this birthday party. That means at least 50 rounds that went off at this birthday party. Along with that, so far we've been able to determine that there were at least 5 different firearms that were fired at this birthday party. A birthday party that killed 3 innocent children and a young adult. So as you can imagine, we have a lot to process with all that type of evidence and the detail that we need to go into to try and determine how many actors we had involved in this and how many people were actually shooting, because if there was 5 different firearms, that doesn't mean there were 5 different suspects. So we've had at least 50 plus tips come in on our tip line at the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office and Crime Stoppers. I would ask people to continue to provide information as they learn about this shooting, this mass murder, and to continue to help us on this. I want people to know that they can remain anonymous. And so when you give a tip at the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office, I just learned this myself the other day, you remain anonymous because it comes in, it goes through a third-party vendor, and then back to us, so that we have no access to who has called this in or who has given us a piece of video or whatever it is, the information that you have. We have no way of telling where that came from. It won't come out in court, it won't come out in our reports, because it's totally anonymous. So that's huge. If you're afraid to come forward on this, please come forward on this. Another thing I want to touch on is that there's been a lot of talk about whether this was gang related or not. And I've told you all along that we cannot determine whether this is gang related or not. Obviously, we know that there were known gang members at this party, but we do not know whether that was the reason or the motive of this shooting. So we're going to take our time and gather all our information and process it. We are blessed. We are partnering with ATF alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives with the FBI, with the U.S. Attorney's Office, with Stockton PD, obviously our DA's office, and my entire crew. And then every other agency in our county has offered services, all our state partners. I got off the phone with the commissioner of CHP last night, who has offered any assistance we need from them. So everyone is offering their assistance, and we're taking all the assistance that we need and can, and will access other in the future if need be. So I'm asking the public to be patient. I know this is going to be difficult, but this is not going to be in a week or two we've got an answer and we start arresting people. You have to know that. Okay, this is going to take months to process all this, figure out who did this, because you've been asking me for descriptions on the people that did this. Well, the only information we're getting so far from the folks who were at the scene was that the people involved in this were dressed all in black and had face coverings. So all you could see was this. So that's why we haven't been asking for anything. But that doesn't mean we don't know who they are, or don't believe we know who they are, or might know who they are, or people might tell us that they think these people are involved. We just need to follow the evidence to prove who was there, who did this heinous act, and that's going to take a lot of time. But I am very confident in our investigators, and with all the support that we have throughout the state and the federal government, that we will come to a successful conclusion. You know, as we've seen just recently on the news, it took 5.5 years to find one guy who was putting out some pipe bombs in Washington, D.C., but they got him. And that's because they took their time and they processed their evidence and they followed the evidence as it came in. So I don't think it's going to take us 5 years, but if it does, then we'll work it for 5 years. But I think we'll be able to come to a successful resolution by doing the same thing, processing it, taking our time, and being very, very accurate about the information that we come through, the evidence that comes up, and how we deal with it. So I'll take some questions if you have some.
If I could just start with asking, based on what you just said, it doesn't mean you don't know who it is. Would you be able to tell us, do you think you know who it is? And also, with a week gone by now and no suspect descriptions released, with surveillance cameras, flock cameras, images available to your investigative unit, what is the strategy behind not releasing any images?
Well, a couple different questions there, but I think your one point that the images are available, but that doesn't mean we've had the time to go through the thousands of hours of images or cameras or things like that to possibly identify somebody. Have we had tips come in with names and things like that? Absolutely. You know, people online have been saying things like that as we've been following those. But we need to be able to prove those type of things. And so we can't say right now that, yes, we definitely know who these people were. But we have a tremendous amount of leads that is going to take a tremendous amount of time to go through and slowly narrow it down and catch these guys.
Sheriff, you mentioned 5 firearms discovered at the scene, but you said you don't know if you're looking for 5 suspects. Can you confirm if people inside the birthday party were shooting back at the suspects, and whether or not the firearms found on a roof of a nearby building are those same firearms?
I can tell you, first of all, let me correct one thing. I didn't say that we found 5 firearms on scene. I said it was the shell casings. Tell us that there were at least 5 firearms, maybe more, because we're still processing those. And and we did find firearms on top of the roof. I do not know if ATF has tied that to these shell casings as being some of the firearms that were discharged there yet. But we have at least 5 firearms that we know were used. It doesn't mean that we have them in our possessions. All that evidence came off of the shell casings at the scene at this time.
Can you confirm that the people inside the party, whether or not they were shooting back at the suspects?
I cannot confirm that at this time. We have, detailed evidence that we collected at the scene and trajectories and all that has to be gone through, and they. At some time during this investigation, we will be able to determine what direction those rounds were traveling, and that will give us information of where shooters were standing and what direction they were shooting.
Are you able to say what kind of weapons may have been used in this? And also, I have another different question. I know that the sheriff's office has decided not to publicize the names of the victims. The families have. I just wanted to see why you guys did that to them.
Okay. We are not going to talk about the caliber or the type of firearms that were used in this. And we're not publicizing the names right now. It's really not my place. The medical examiner is the one who deals with the families and the deceased. That we used to do that as coroners. We don't do that anymore.
Let me break down what we just heard, because the numbers are staggering. 50 rounds fired. 5 different firearms. Multiple suspects dressed in all black with their faces covered. This wasn't some spontaneous act of violence. This was calculated. And here's what makes this even more frustrating for investigators. Weapons were recovered from a nearby rooftop, but authorities haven't confirmed whether they're connected to the shooting. The ATF is still running ballistics tests. The sheriff was brutally honest today. It could take weeks, possibly months, to identify the suspects. They're reviewing thousands of hours of surveillance footage and processing massive amounts of evidence. Federal agencies, including the FBI, ATF, and the U.S. Attorney's Office, are all involved. The reward for information has now climbed to $130,000. That's $50,000 from the FBI, $55,000 from Stockton Crime Stoppers, and contributions from other organizations. Sheriff Withrow addressed the elephant in the room. Was this gang-related? His answer: they know gang members were present at the party, but they cannot confirm whether that was the motive. The investigation remains open to all possibilities. Meanwhile, the families are living through unimaginable pain. At a separate press conference today, the parents of 14-year-old Amari Peterson, Patrick and Kimberly Peterson, made an emotional plea for mental health support. Patrick Peterson said losing his son has him feeling like he's going crazy. If you know anything about this shooting, if you saw anything suspicious that night, or if you've heard rumors, call the tip line MUS. Your information could be the key to bringing justice for Journey Guerrero, Maya Lupian, Amari Peterson, and Susano Archuleta. This is still a developing story. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates as this investigation unfolds. Drop a comment below. Do you think witnesses are holding back information? And what needs to change to prevent tragedies like this? I'll see you in the next one.